My name is Phil, and I have medically controlled post traumatic epilepsy. I'm taking one more step towards living a fuller life by sailing the oceans of the world. Follow the Sail for Epilepsy voyage, and I invite you to consider, is there something you can do that you haven't done before with the necessary guardrails in place?
Okay, thank you. Well, good afternoon again. Sorry about our technical hitch. We are in the mid Atlantic Ocean going through satellites in three separate sets of software. And there's hiccups occasionally. But what the heck, we're back. And this time will be even better. So let me tell you about our Q&A session today. I'm Phil Hayden. I'm president of Sail for Epilepsy. I have epilepsy, but I do things. And that's our whole goal. Our goal is to sail the ocean of the world to try and inspire people to live a fuller life. And we have the One More Step challenge, and I'll show you some of the people who followed that challenge in a moment. But rather than me taking time talking, I want to actually just answer some of your questions. We've had a lot of questions come in. We'll be able to answer some of them, but also when this is posted, put more comments and we'll try to answer them over time. Also, if you're listening right now, put comments in and Kimberly will be able to ask through technology to me. I have Lauren on board and she has many of the questions, and we'll see if we can get through 9 or 10 of them before we have to hang on. So Lauren, let me have number one. What did your doctor say? So the question is, what did my doctor say when I told her of this campaign and sailing across the oceans? Her response was actually amazing. She said, wow, that's incredible. Can I come with you? And we had this conversation for about 10 minutes about the voyage itself, what we're doing at Sail for Epilepsy. I gave her a card and she actually is getting her kids to follow on social media. After that conversation, we then talked about safety guardrails, and clearly I'd thought about them before and she was very satisfied. I have her number in case I need to call her for anything. On board, we have a seizure action plan. Everybody, all the crew who are with me know where the action plan is and have been briefed, and we have a physician on shore who's available 24/7 should I have any medical issues. All right. How many eggs were purchased? If you don't know me, you'll think, what on earth is this about? But when I sail offshore, I love a midnight snack. And my preferred midnight snack is boiled egg, or maybe two. Also, Rudy, who's on board with us, loves chocolate, so we sometimes have the boiled egg chocolate challenge. But how many eggs do we have on board? Well, I talked to the crew before we left, and they said, oh, we got 50. And I almost had a little tantrum because I said, 50? That's never going to do for 3 weeks. Okay, understand. I'm not eating all of them myself. So we actually had 90 eggs on board when we set sail. It's interesting. We're finding that other crew members now realize that a midnight boiled egg snack is pretty good. Yeah, so a nice, really good question came in. Are we seeing any commercial traffic or pleasure craft? And the answer is yes, but it also depends on where we are. So we left Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we had to come up through the Straits of Florida. And to the west, of course, is Florida, to the east of the Bahamas. And this is a channel where there's a lot of commercial traffic. Some of it's coming from the Gulf of Mexico up the East Coast, and then across Europe, for example. There was a lot of traffic, but importantly, all the vessels send out an identification beacon from their mast so we can see who the other vessels are, what their speed is, and if they're going to be close. And there was actually one vessel which was going to be close. And we radioed to them, and we said, you know, we're in this position. Then we were able to discuss over the radio how we would make maneuvers to take that into account. At the moment, we see nothing. It's quite nice. It's quite liberating. And if you want to just hold on a second, I'm going to show you. So here we are out in the water. This is sort of south. There's Greg and Rudy up at the cockpit. And we're coming. And there, that's pretty much the heading for our home city of Boston. Can't see it, of course, it's quite a ways away. And you see there's beautiful blue water and very little going on other than us quietly sailing along. So, what's the next question, Owen? Okay, next question is, what is the deepest we've swum? Pretty deep. So, you know, in a swimming pool, you know, there might be the shallow end and the 12-foot deep end. We've been swimming slightly deeper than that. And it's 17, not 17 feet, not 1,700 feet, but 17,000 feet. And, the good news is nobody realized it when they were swimming. And we looked at the depth after we got out. There was a gulf. But 17,000 feet. That's a great question. Kimberly?
Yes, the question from Jen, what channel do you monitor and have you been able to speak with any other pleasure craft making the same voyage?
Yeah, Jen, that's a great question. So we're always monitoring channel 16. We actually have the radio scanning several channels that people might talk on. So it's channel 16. We've seen several pleasure craft, mostly in Florida. But since then, we've seen some. There was one, we were about 10 miles away and we actually radioed them. It was the middle of the night, we called them up, they responded, and we had a little conversation. We moved to another channel. And I asked the skipper where he was heading. He said to the Azores, and we told him the same. And we have already decided there's a famous location in Orta where mariners go to relax after a long sail, and we're going to try and meet up there and share, you know, the experiences we've had on the water. Lauren? Oh, okay. So everything's been going well on the voyage except one thing, and that is fishing. We've been trying to fish, and the crew wants to know, do you have any fishing tips? So the way we're towing a line behind us, and it's got, I'm not a fisherman, it's got a hook and some fuzzy stuff. And the fish don't seem to like it. So if you've got tips, put them in the comment section. We have been very successful in catching seaweed, but nothing other than that. So please give us your tips. Oh yeah, so I'm first going to talk about our virtual ship base, and then I'll answer the question. So in the Sail for Epilepsy program, our signature signature dish, so to speak, is the One More Step Challenge. And in the One More Step Challenge, we challenge people to take an extra sip to live a fuller life. My one more step is I'm sailing the oceans of the world to safety guardrails. We have a whole bunch of people, over 300 people from 17 countries who signed up. And when they sign up, they become virtual shipmates. And let me show you, we're sailing for them. So across here, you can see, you can see, here's the names of our virtual shipmates. So if you're a virtual shipmate and you're tuning in, you are with us. We're sailing for you. And the question is, what is the demographic of our virtual shipmates? And I would say everything. So we have very young children, teenagers, adults, grandparents. We have, and many of the grandparents are signing up to take a step to live a fuller life for their grandchildren. So they may have a grandchild with epilepsy, and they're signing up to do something themselves, for example, in support of epilepsy. Or one concept we try to promote for people with epilepsy or the caregivers and parents, is there something you can do to let your child or grandchild live a fuller life? When I had my head injury, I wanted to play cricket, but I had a piece of skull missing, and my parents worked with me to take the bubble wrap also, to speak. And I wore ice hockey helmet, and there were no fast balls. This allowed me to play cricket in a safe manner with the safety guardrails. So we don't ask people's ages, but based on the comments we've made, I'm anticipating we have people from the ages of 4 up to, let's say, at least my level of maturity, which is 21. You can put a comment about that if you wish. Oh, have I seen the North Star? So some of you know that when we do import events, when we get to destinations, and we'll be doing them as we're in Europe. And one of the components of our inshore events is we teach people who come along a little bit about navigating by the stars. And my favorite star is the North Star. And there's a way of identifying the North Star based on another constellation. And every night when there are no clouds, I look up and I find the North Star. And when I look at the North Star, I remember everybody. Everyone in our import event is awesome. Can't see today though, it's a little sunny, but I will look again for you all tomorrow. So what are our sailing plans for the next couple of days? So if you look online, we have a tracker. You'll see we're not taking a direct route to the Azores. And the reason for that is we have to use the wind. We're trying to minimize the amount of diesel fuel we use in the engines. So we have to use various paths to find the wind. At the moment, we've had very little wind. We have been going very slow for the last 10 hours. And we are currently heading in a northeasterly direction where there is going to be wind. So we're heading up there. Once we find the wind, and actually whilst I'm speaking, I can feel the wind is picking up. When that happens, we will be turning a little bit to starboard, to right, or to the east. And at that point, we will be, the goal is to sail in a direct course to the Azores. However, as we're doing that, we've already been looking at, there are weather prediction files we download over the satellites. We already know they're going to be at the other periods where there's very light air. But we try not to use the engine, beat the engine just in case. Kimberly?
Oh, sorry. Just a couple of comments from people, not questions, but a comment from Jen. Keep up the great strides. Safe travels, my friends. You are all amazing, as are all of us warriors. And from Keith, keep up the good work from a man that sailed with it for 20 years. No problem.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you. We appreciate the comments. And if anybody has any other comments, please put them in. Well, Kimberly's on shore, and what she does every day, comments that have come in on social media, she types them up, she emails them to us. And when we're on night watch, I go through the comments and then we write out answers and send them back to Kimberly. And she then posts on social media for me. Oh, we've had a question about the Bermuda Triangle. And are we in it? Are we out of it? And so the Bermuda Triangle is an interesting part of the ocean. And my understanding is it's sort of become known as the Bermuda Triangle because there have been a lot of incidents in an area of the ocean, sort of between Florida and Bermuda. So part of me is very happy that we're almost past Bermuda. A lot of those incidents, though, I call it Hurricane Alley. So later in the season, there'll be hurricanes passing between Bermuda and Florida, which can cause accidents. Again, for safety guardrails, we planned our voyage before hurricane season so that we can be safe. And if you're looking out on the ocean, you can see at the moment it's relatively calm. Actually, it's very calm, and it's very nice sailing conditions. If we were to come here in August, September, we would be looking out for those hurricanes, tropical storms over time. So we're almost past the Bermuda Triangle, and we look forward to breathing a sigh of relief. Actually, it's not dangerous. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to have a quick walk around the boat so to show you what's going on. And if you have any final questions, type them in so that Kimberly can ask them. And by the way, you've asked some great questions. So I'm going to work with technology here. Okay, so remember, here's the virtual shipmates. And I'm going to walk back along the starboard side of the boat, and I'll show Greg up in the cockpit, working hard. So again, virtual shipmates. Here we go, we've got the American flag. Let me just turn around to the bow. And this is, so the boat is a Leopard 50 catamaran. This is actually supposed to be a Leopard. This is a sail called a Code Zero, and it's really giving us power today. We have our mainsail up. Any sailors watching, you'll see that the winds are extremely light. As I come back to the stern, so you look up, there's the mainsail, and then there's the metal mast, which is being held up by these shrouds. Say hi, Greg. Hi, Greg. Greg's looking at a chart plotter. The chart plotter shows us where we're going. Might be able to see it there. So it shows the boat, and we have wind speeds and so on. Let me come back. I'm halfway around the circuit. We have fresh fruit. Here's Rudy. This is a dinghy for when we get to shore and we anchor, we can then dinghy in to the shore. When we get at that elusive fish, we have a barbecue. Hopefully we get to use it. Here's the sails from the other side. And this boat has been really wonderful. It's really a stable platform to stay on. Kimberly, did any more comments or questions come in whilst we did a quick outside tour?
Yes, we have a comment from Shelley. Keep up the great work and stay safe sailing. Your epilepsy warriors and sailors. And a comment from Jen, just a hi, Rudy.
Thank you, Shelley.
A shout out, Jen saying hi to Rudy.
I will pass the. I will shout out. I will say to Rudy in a moment. Hi from Jen. That's awesome. So you can see we got relatively calm waters. We're hunting for wind. And what we're going to do now is we're going to hang up. This will go on, stay on social media. Please put in comments. Every day we're trying to post something online. It's a blog. Currently we're writing one about how we make water from seawater, drinking water. And tune in next week. Now you understand what we're doing in the Q&A. We're going to have another one. And now we understand how to do the Q&A. Hopefully we'll get it to go on our first time. But thank you for joining us. It's really a great pleasure for me to talk with you. And I guess enjoy the week, and we're going to have a great sail. I'm going to actually ask a question if you want. Oh, so I'm going to ask a question of you all, and you can put this in comment action. What date do you think we'll get to the Azores? So I'll give you some clues. We've sailed about 850 nautical miles, and we have about 3,000 in total to do. So if you put down what date you think we're going to get there, the closest person will get a T-shirt. Secondly, if you really want to nail it, you could even put in a time on that date. And let's have a little bit of a friendly competition here, and let's see how many. And talk to your friends, get them to put times on too. Okay, it's time for us. We got to hydrate. It gets really hot out here. We got to rehydrate and trim the sails. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.